It's been a while since I talked about the Cleveland Cavaliers on this channel, so this video is going to be just a quick little update on them, starting with Ricky Rubio taking a step away from basketball for an indefinite amount of time. He's citing taking care of his mental health as his reasoning for this move, and he stepped away from Team Spain right before they went on their FIBA World Cup run, so it's not like he was just sitting on his couch one day and decided to do this. In the spur of the moment. This is a very important time for him coming up, and this wasn't a decision he made lightly. The Cleveland Cavaliers haven't said too much other than, they're willing to support him in any way that he needs. There's not really much for them to say, to be quite honest, as Ricky Rubio did make sure he wanted his privacy respected, and I think just as a human being, that is something that he should be granted. Although it might leave Cleveland in a bit of a weird spot, as Ricky Rubio is their primary backup point guard. Raul Neto, he's not on the Cavs anymore. He's signed in Turkey. They do have plenty of depth players that they can move over to point guard if they need to. Ty Jerome, who's newly signed. They have given Karis LeVert the point guard spot in a pinch every now and then before. You also have guys like Craig Porter Jr. and Sam Merrill, who looked good in Summer League. So there are different players that can fill in that role, although the Cavs, I feel like they do probably want Ricky Rubio to fulfill that role. However, you don't really want to put any pressure on him to rush back and play when he's not in the right mindset to. I feel like this is a more of a wait and see situation. Personally, I think that the best outcome is for Ricky to just pursue whatever he feels is best for himself, whether or not that's playing basketball in a Cleveland Cavalier uniform. Again, that's just something we're going to have to wait and see on. We also have some scheduling updates with the Cavs preseason schedule being released. That will start on October 10th in Atlanta against the Hawks. And I'm assuming many others also will be keeping a close eye on Emoni Bates during the preseason. It still feels like the possible outcomes for him in this organization it has a pretty wide range. I feel like, with Emoni Bates, it's possible that he shines in the preseason. He gets some consistent rotational minutes in the NBA and he puts up decent numbers. I also feel like it's possible that, that summer league success isn't necessarily replicated and he spends a time seasoning his game and cooking in the G League. I feel like it's definitely intriguing. And I also feel like the Cavs roster is good enough to where they're not necessarily counting on Emoni Bates becoming a superstar NBA player right out of the gate. They can afford to wait around for him to develop, and even if he doesn't ultimately end up panning out, I do feel like the roster's at a spot where, again, they're not really counting on him to develop in anything. It's not going to cripple the organization if he ends up not panning out. Now, there is also a schedule for the NBA in-season tournament. I honestly really hate this concept. The NBA's recent round of introducing gimmick attempts just aren't all that interesting to me, at least. Like the play-in tournament, I'm not a huge fan of. This in-season tournament thing isn't necessarily my cup of tea. There's going to be a group stage and then some knockout rounds, and the 22 teams that don't make it out of the group stage will have 2 regular season games added to make up for the ones that will be counting during the knockout stages that those 22 teams don't get. Again, I do feel like it's a little convoluted. I understand that they're trying to spice up the regular season, maybe pop a few ratings here and there for these quarterfinals, semifinal, and finals rounds in this in-season tournament. It's just that I can really only truly care about one team trophy per sport. Like with the NFL, it's the Lombardi, NHL Stanley Cup, and baseball, it's the Commissioner's Trophy for the World Series. And in the NBA, I really only care about what happens at the end of the NBA Finals in terms of a team winning a huge championship. Like for me, would it be kind of cool to see the Cavs win this thing? I guess. I suppose that might be a nice accolade. But me personally, I wouldn't really ever lose any sleep if the Cavs never won any of these things ever. In my opinion, again, it's not something that I'm all that concerned about. I would much rather focus on, getting the regular season is the vessel to the playoffs, in my opinion. And I'm much more concerned about what the Cavs do in a playoff series than in a regular season tournament that the NBA just kind of puts on, again, in my opinion, just to kind of try to boost ratings a little bit, maybe during a dry stretch in the regular season. But that's just my opinion. You can tell me what you think about it down in the comments below. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far into it, and I will see you at the next one.